I remember like hearing God say, like, do you still trust me? Like, am I still good? Do you still believe that? And he said, I swear, when I come back, which was April, we're getting married in May, and then we're gonna start our life together in the same spot, finally. And then we did.
There we did.
Started a family right away. Trayton was born in February of 2020, right before the world shut down with COVID. We were pregnant again that fall, and then when Macklin was born, I think our world just flips upside down.
I think I drove like 100 miles an hour to the hospital.
He was born just after 1 in the morning. He was put right on my chest, and you have a little bit of that skin-to-skin time. I'm holding on to him, and he's a perfect size, and he looks perfect to us, and they really only let me hold him for about 5 to 10 seconds, and they were like, we're gonna have to run some tests, and they quickly scooped him off of me, and they really wheeled him out of the room. At that point, they told us he was born with a birth defect. It's called congenital diaphragmatic hernia. His diaphragm muscle never closed. He couldn't breathe on his own. And about 5 hours after he was born, he was hooked up to a million machines and put in an ambulance and taken to the NICU.
For basically 3 weeks. We'd go back and forth. We'd spend majority of the day with Macklin and then come home and put Trayton to bed. And that was our routine.
During the back and forth, you are kind of at a loss for words between each other. I mean, you feel helpless. All you have is your faith, and you think you can control so much in this world, and all it takes is for your child, who you were told is completely healthy the entire way, to be laying there hooked up to a million machines, for you to know that it is not up to you. They were going to try a surgery they had never done before. We had to sit in the waiting room and just wait.
And I just knew we had to pray. And we got on our hands and knees, and I felt like I had a direct line to him, and I was talking. And I was talking to God. And 10 minutes later, the doctors all come back. And they said it was successful. And we were so happy.
It was just so nice to hold his little hand again and talk to him and be with him. And it wasn't until the following evening he just started to really decline. And you start to hear more beeping going on in machines, and there's more nurses rushing in and quick taking care of things and giving him more meds. And that's when the one doctor came to us and said, he's not gonna make it through the night. And if you would like to just spend some time with him, you're welcome to hold him and just make the most of your time together. And for the next, I lost track of time, but maybe 2-3 hours, we just sat with him and we talked to him and sang to him and told him all about his family and things we just really wanted him to know. And then after a few hours, we left the room, said our goodbyes, and then I think the feeling the next several days was just a dark blur, and I didn't really know what to pray for besides, Macklin's in heaven now, and so we just pray that he's taken care of and he's healthy and he's right where he's supposed to be. This doesn't seem fair. I mean, I must have said that in my head a million times, especially when you look at such a small, innocent little baby laying there and think, what has he done wrong? You know, why does he deserve this? And we played the song, The Goodness of God, at his funeral as the last song. And you just sit and like think on those words, and it's like, it says, all my life, you have been faithful, and all my life you've been so good. And I'm sitting at my child's funeral and I'm hearing these words, and it's like, I remember like hearing God say, like, do you still trust me? Like, am I still good? Do you still believe that? And the answer is yes. It's just not easy every day.
He could have just passed away in the ambulance, and we couldn't have got those 22 days. He could have passed away during that surgery, and we couldn't have got that night of holding to him and talking to him like that. So I hold on to those moments as little miracles that God did to give us more time with him. One thing that stands out to me throughout this whole process is there was like a candlelight vigil for all infant loss. I just remember that moment very vividly of getting out of the vehicle and like seeing so many people all around, and there's a lot of struggle, and someone you might be going down the grocery aisle with, and they might be going through the exact same thing, and you have no idea, but you're not alone in this.
To us, victory meant for our child to live through that surgery and to leave the NICU and to live a healthy life, and for us to bring him home and meet his brother at Drayton. But it didn't happen. And then you have to turn around and say, okay, now what? And I think it's so important to hold on to that hope and know that we still believe Jesus is good. And we believe that because he's good, someday we get to meet Macklin again in heaven. And so holding on to that hope, I think, is everything.